Hey, what's up, y'all? I'm back in the building. All praise to the Most High Yahuwah. So y'all know how these. It's too early for this. Y'all know how these Israelite camps, right? These camps, the they be saying that we gonna have slaves in the kingdom, which a lot of them probably not even gonna make it into the kingdom because of their hearts. Because of their heart, their hearts are not pure. Their hearts are wicked. But they be saying we're gonna have slaves in the kingdom. The Bible doesn't say anything about us having slaves and having people in chains and whipping people in the kingdom, bro. Do that even sound correct at all? Does that even sound righteous at all? Y'all really think it's gonna be wickedness like that? Gruesome acts like that going on in the kingdom? Are y'all absolutely insane? It's too early for this, bro. It's too early for this, man. Why did I just have to go over this scripture in the book of Joel? And it's just one scripture, y'all. Yo, check this out. This is what's going to happen to these people, man. We're not going to have slaves in the kingdom. That's going crazy. This is the book of Joel, chapter 3, verse 8. It says, "And I will sell your sons and your daughters into the hand of the children of Judah," so-called African Americans. We are of the tribe of Judah, y'all. And this is deep. We're not going to get into that right now because it's 8:30 in the morning, guys. And it says, "And they shall sell them." We're going to sell them, y'all, "to the Sabines." Now, I don't know who the Sabines is. I'm going to have to do research on that. But we're going to sell these people. We're not going to have no slaves, y'all. And it says, "To a people far off, for the Lord hath spoken it." Also in the book of Revelation, it says, I think it's chapter 20, it speaks on how he who leads into captivity will go into captivity. So all these nations that put us into captivity and stuff like that, guess what? A lot of these people, they're gonna go into captivity. Either they're gonna be destroyed or they are going into captivity, y'all. But anyway, back to these crazy camps, bro. So this is why, like, these people hearts are they messed up, bro. These people hearts, y'all have became our enemies. Like the same way our enemies have that messed up heart, bro. That heart, that messed up spirit, that ugly spirit, y'all got that same spirit as our enemies, bro. Y'all have became our enemies, man. Y'all the same exact way. That hatred that y'all have, they have that same hatred towards us. That same hatred, y'all got the same hatred. Y'all are no different from them. Like for y'all to really just hate everybody, bro. Y'all hate everybody. That's crazy. And then there's gonna be somebody that's gonna come up on the comments. We don't hate everybody. Yes, y'all do, bro. The spirit bears witness, and also you judge a tree by its fruits. You know they don't bear any good fruit. You know then when you, especially ISPUK, I think that's what the name of it. Like bro, they some of the most wicked. Like I feel like they even worse than IUIC because for one they got this they submit to the Star of Renfam, you know, and then they even cuss more. Like I even noticed this. Like the spirit on them is way more stronger. They be cussing more.
Okay, I haven't fully listened to this whole thing, and I'll listen to the video at another time. But I just wanted that first part because, like I said, I haven't listened to this whole thing yet. I stopped it about 2 minutes in, and then scriptures was flowing, flowing, and I wrote them down, pulled them up on the internet browser to make the video, and here it is right now. But before I get started, I want to give all praises, all honor, and all glory unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yamshai, Ba'ashem Rachach Wadash. Double honor to the apostles, bishops, elders of GMS, and shalom to you brothers pushing this truth and sincerity across the four winds of earth. And now you heard them. It is the same old, man. It's nothing new that these people come up with. Right, it's nothing ever new. It's always the John 3:16, slaves in the kingdom, Edomites can be saved, other nations can make it, so on and so forth. It's always the same things over and over and over again, every single time. So I'm just gonna go into it and break it down, because you know what happens is you Christians, and the thing is, I don't know if he's a Christian now. He is knows he's an Israelite, calling on the wrong name, of course. And then when you're calling on the wrong name, of course, you're gonna have the wrong doctrine. That's just how that works. They go hand in hand. Calling on Yahuwah and Yah and all that stuff. That brings a whole different vibration. That brings a whole new doctrine in. Right? And so he's trying to say that, oh, that's not godlike, pretty much. And that won't be accepted, and that nobody will be doing that in the kingdom. But here it is in Esau's kingdom. There's a ruling class, would be them, starting off with the banking family, and then there's a servant class, which is all the other nations, and then us being at the bottom. So in the kingdom, what do you think is going to happen? Do you honestly think that we're going to be in the kingdom, the Lord's kingdom, right? And then we're going to be we're joint heirs with the Lord. So by default, it's the kingdom of Israel. So we're going to be in the Lord's kingdom, and then we're going to be working. And you think that the Lord is going to be clocking in and doing these stuff? Like, come on, man. Like, do you people think when you say stuff like this? And it's very clear that you haven't read a lot in the scriptures, right? So I want to get, let's get some, man. Let's start off with this one right here. This is going to be Proverbs 3 and verse 5. It says, trust in the Lord with all thine heart. It says, and lean not unto thine own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. Be not wise in thine own eyes. It says, fear the Lord and depart from evil. So it's very clear. And I'm gonna go back to it actually. Let's go back a little bit, because it's very clear that he's being wise in his own eyes, and he's leaning on his own understanding, right? Because you see, it says, let me see if I can find a specific part of this.
Because of their hearts, their hearts are not pure. Their hearts are wicked. But they be saying we're gonna have slaves in the kingdom. The Bible doesn't say anything about us having slaves and having people in chains and whipping people in the kingdom, bro. Do that even sound correct at all?
See, and the thing is, the thing is, what happens when people have, this mindset and they think like this, is they don't go to anywhere to support their doctrine, right? You have to go, when you say things, you have to go to the scriptures and prove it. For a doctrine like that saying there's not going to be slaves in the kingdom, you would have to show. But there's no scriptures that support that ideology of what you're talking about. You see, and you're leaning on your own understanding, man. Because it's not the understanding of Yahweh Ma'ashem Yahushua. That's the understanding of whatever your name is. You see? And then on top of that, you calling on the wrong names. So let's start to break it down. Let's find out if we're gonna have slaves in the kingdom, right? And I'm gonna start off with Deuteronomy 30 and 7, right? And that's gonna, segue into, the scriptures I'm gonna get into. It says, it's Deuteronomy 30 and 7. It says, and the Lord thy power will put all these curses, right, upon thine enemies and on them that hate thee, which persecuted thee. What you're talking about, and what he's talking about, you're hating your heart. What's wrong with hate? There's nothing wrong with that. Clearly, there's people that hate the Israelites. So what's wrong with us hating them back? You see, but to segue into the point now, it says, in the Lord thy God, it says, will put all these curses upon thine enemies. Now, right. Now, where are the curses that's going to, that we can read about, right? And it's Deuteronomy the 28th chapter, right? And let's find out some of the curses. We ain't gonna read all of them. Let's see here. Here we go, right here. Right, this is Deuteronomy 28. And we're going to get 15 first. Right, this is the consequences of disobedience. Deuteronomy 28 and 15, it says, but it shall come to pass, it says, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy power to observe, to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. Right. Right. Now let's go. We gonna read all of them, like I said, but I want a very specific one. And then on top of that, but before I get this, it goes to show that this man is confused. Is he referenced Revelation 13 and 13, and then proceeded. How are you going to say that there's not going to be no captivity, but then you reference Revelation 13, and then you didn't even attempt to try to break it down? It says, he that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. Was not the nation of Israel led into captivity? The answer is yes. So what do you think is going to happen to them? And also when you go into, I believe, is it Exodus? I believe it's Exodus, where it says, or Numbers might be, it might not be any of those. I'm pretty sure it's one of those two. But the scripture that says, paraphrasing it, it goes, if he be found in their hand, he that stealeth a man and selleth him, or if he be found in his hand, he shall surely be put to death, so on and so forth. Is that not fit? We were sold, and we're still found in the hand of the people that did that to this day. So what are you talking about, man? And then not Deuteronomy, Revelation 13 and 13, shit goes to show. You people think it's just, you think it's just impossible for the kingdom to have slaves in it. Because you think about it, and I know I heard the Elder Yashawama say it in his video, one of his recent videos, I believe. He says, because you people think that it's going to be, because when you think of slavery and you think of servitude and you think of these things, you think of it as how it was done unto us, right? But it's going to be a righteousness to it, right? Obviously, we gonna be buck breaking and sleeping with their wives and watching them watch and make them watch, or then do what you want with her and then send her back. You know, all that stuff. See, that all that stuff was done unrighteously. In unrighteousness, because there's righteousness when it comes to having servants. Just like, for an example, the Sabbath day, right? Do you think there was a day of rest when we was in captivity? No, but there's a day where nothing's supposed to be working, not your animals, people, nothing, and that's the Sabbath. So even they're still going to have a little bit of mercy and breaks and stuff like that from the hard bondage that they're going to serve. But that goes to show that you people think about it in the wrong way, because you always think about how it was done to us. You don't think that it's a righteous way to do things. All right, I'm gonna read this one, and I'm gonna go to the one that I wanted. This is Deuteronomy 28 and 30. It says, "Thou shalt betroth a wife, and another man shall lie with her." And I just not talked about that. It says, "Thou shalt build an house, and thou shalt not dwell therein." It says, "Thou shalt plant a vineyard, and shalt not gather the grapes thereof." What does that sound like? If you're building something, or you're planting something, and you can't reap the benefits of what you're building or planting, what does that sound like? That sounds like servitude. That sounds like slavery. And then guess what happened? We just read Deuteronomy 30 and 7 that goes to show what? That the curses that was placed upon the Israelites is going to get put upon the other people, the other nations. And this right here, they're going to be building the houses, and what? They're not going to be able to dwell there. They're going to build up the kingdom, and they're not going to reap every single last benefit how we're going to reap the benefits from the kingdom, right? This is Deuteronomy 28 and 32. It says, "Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people, and thine eyes shall look and fill with longing for them all the day long, and there shall be no might in thine hand." There you go. What does that sound like? Captivity. That sounds like all your power is stricken, and you have no other choice but to sit there and watch. And that's the same thing they done to us. the auction blocks and all that stuff. We gonna be doing them. We got this Edomite here, this Edomite here, 6'5" Edomite strong. Look at his teeth. We gonna be selling them and doing all this stuff, man. You see? That is just a part of it. Let's get some more. Let's see. Here we go right here. Deuteronomy 28 and 41. It says, thou shalt beget sons and daughters. So you're going to bring forth sons and daughters. And these other people, right? The other nations are going to be having kids and stuff in the kingdom. What's going to happen to them? It says, but thou shalt not enjoy them. Why? It says, for they shall go into captivity. What else can we get? Right here. Let's get this one. Deuteronomy 28 and 48. It says, therefore thou shalt serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee in hunger, and in thirst, and in nakedness, and in want of all things, and he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee. And that's what's going to happen in the kingdom. So what are you talking about? Because what's going to happen? They're going to be ministers unto us, and we're going to be holding. We're going to have everything, right? So when they need food, clothing, raiment, stuff like that, where they're going to go? They're going to come to us, because we're going to be the ones that's going to be able to give this stuff out to them, because they're going to be destitute of all these things, and they're going to come to us. That's captivity. All right, that's it for Deuteronomy 28. Now let's keep going, because you don't understand. And now I got this. This is Isaiah 60, right? Because you say, where does it doesn't say that in here? Okay, so what is this? A glorified Zion, right? I'm not gonna read all of it. Let's start with. Let's get straight to the point. This is Isaiah 60 and verse 10. It says, and the sons of the strangers shall build up thy walls, and their kings shall minister unto thee. For in my wrath I smote thee, but in my favor have I had mercy on thee. Therefore thy gates shall be opened continually. Has this happened yet? No. They shall be open. It says thy gate shall be open continually. It says they shall not be shut day nor night, that men may bring unto thee the forces of the Gentiles, and that their kings may be brought. Right? It says, for the nation and the kingdom that will not serve thee shall perish. It says, yea, those nations shall be utterly wasted. But I want to get this right here. I'm going to read this Isaiah 60 and 10 again. It says, and the sons of the stranger shall build up thy walls, and their kings shall minister. This is what I want right here. Minister unto thee. Now, what does it mean to minister? Right? Because that's what they're going to be doing. It's Surat. And it means to what? Minister, serve, minister to. To contribute to. It says serve, wait on. You see, and then I also took it a step further and then looked it up on Google. I said, what does minister mean? It's the AI overview. It says to minister to someone means to help, care for, or serve them, often by attending to their needs, especially in a formal or spiritual context. It says this is help and care. It says this is a general definition that includes providing aid, such as a nurse tending to a patient's wounds or someone caring for a sick spouse. Now, we ain't gonna get sick in the kingdom. We're gonna be perfect. But they're going to do what? They're going to serve us, and they're going to come do what? They're going to attend to our needs. And they're not going to have a say about, oh, I don't feel like doing it today. Oh, well, you're going to feel like it now. You see, what are you talking about, man? Let's see what this says in the NLT. Let's see what this says in the NLT here. This is what they're going to be doing. And it also said, build up thy walls. I don't know what happened to it. I mean, they was changing, but it says, and that's how you know it hasn't happened yet, because why? It says future glory for Jerusalem, and this has not happened yet, right? Isaiah 60 and 10 in the NLT, it says, foreigners will come to rebuild your towns. Ooh. And their kings will serve you. For though I have destroyed you in my anger, I will now have mercy on you through my grace. Your gates will stay open day and night to receive the wealth of many lands. The kings of the world will be led as captives in a victory procession. For the nations that refuse to serve you will be destroyed. What are you talking about, man? Huh? What are you talking about? Explain this. If you're saying, right, if you're going to sit here and say that there's not going to be no servants in the kingdom, explain that. I would love to hear the breakdown of it. What does that mean? No, see, brother, look, right there doesn't mean we're going to do that. Be quiet, man. Be quiet. Let's get this. Let's see. This is the book of Psalms 2 and verse 8. It says, ask of me, and I shall give thee the heathen for thine inheritance, and the uttermost parts of the earth for thy possession. Thou shalt break them with the rod of iron. Thou shalt dash them in pieces like a potter's vessel. You got to explain that, man. Psalms 2 and 9. 2 and 8 NLT. It says, only ask, and I will give you the nations as your inheritance, the whole earth as your possession. You will break them with an iron rod and smash them like clay pots. Now then, you kings, act wisely. Be warned, you rulers of the earth. Come on, man. It's too easy. It's too easy. And then where's the other one? There's another one where it says, thy nursing mothers, I believe that's what it was. Here we go. Isaiah 49 and 22. I'm going to see what it says in NLT. It says, this is what the sovereign Lord says. See, I will give a signal to the godless nations. They will carry your little sons back to you in their arms. They will bring your daughters on their shoulders. Kings and queens will serve you and care for all your needs. That's what ministering. It says they will bow to the earth before you and lick the dust from your feet. Then you will know that I am the Lord. Those who trust in me will never be put to shame. It's very, very simple. Let's go back now. Let's go to the KJV. Isaiah 49 and 23 in the KJV. It says, and kings shall be thy nursing fathers, and their queens thy nursing mothers. They shall bow down to thee with their face toward the earth, and lick up the dust of thy feet. And thou shalt know that I am the Lord, for they shall not be ashamed that wait for me. It says, here we go. There's obviously there's another one. There's many more. There's so much you can get on this topic. But it's like, come on, man. It's because you think, and I don't understand how you an Israelite and you think ain't gonna be no, like how? And just like the elder apostle Tahar on the comment, the first comment when you load the video up that popped up, it says he doesn't have a ruling class mentality, and he doesn't. How do you know that you Israelite and you don't want to rule? You realize that's how everything works. Every single nation that has ruled the earth at a point in time has been a ruling class and a serving class. That's not going to be any different in the kingdom. You look at through all history. Whoever was in rulership at the time, those were the rulers. They had the people that was in power, and then you had the people that was below. And it's going to be no different in the kingdom, man. You damn simple as you Jake, man. You talking some Yahuwah, but you expect that when the dude is calling our name Yahuwah. But that's it, man. That's all I wanted to close. That's all.